specifically on sensitivity in dealings. When we're dealing with other devotees, we need to show some sensitivity. What is this sensitivity in dealing? In short, it is to acknowledge the situation and mood and need of the other person and dealing with them in a more gentle, polite, and appropriate manner. That is sensitivity. Most of the times, our interactions with people are through words. Yes, actions have their role to play, emotions have their role to play, but our emotions are expressed in the form of words. So, sensitive dealings basically means that we need to be very sensitive in our speech with other devotees. Right? Krishna gives some guidelines. Within the available time, I'll focus on two things: sensitivity and sensibility. Right? They are little different terms. When you say sensitivity, you acknowledge the emotion of other devotee. When you say sensibility, yes, acknowledgement of emotion is there, but you just don't get carried away by their emotions only. You also bring in some logical perspectives and rational perspectives and philosophical perspectives and intellectual perspectives and give a more actionable advice than a sentimental advice. Right? We need to be both sensitive and sensible. Right? Let's discuss one by one. Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, he says, Anudvegakaram vakyam. Anudvegakaram vakyam. Udvega means agitation. Our speech should not be agitating to others. Anudvega means it should not be agitating. Unagitating speech. Anudvegakaram vakyam. Vakyam means statements that we make. The sentences that we speak. They are supposed to be non-agitating to others. That is one quality. Anudvegakaram vakyam. Second, satyam. We should be truthful. A part of sensitive dealings with others, sensitive communication with others is we should not agitate in our speech and we should also be truthful. Satyam. Third, priyahitam chayat. Anudvegakaram vakyam satyam priyahitam. What is priyahitam? Means we should be a well-wisher of the other person. Then fourth is svadhyaya abhyasanam chiva. Svadhyaya means studying scriptures is also part of austerity of speech. Vangmayam tapa uchyate. This is all austerity of speech. But let's focus on the first 3 points. First is anudvegakaram. Our words, our speech should not be agitating to others. Second, truthful. Third, well-wishing. You should speak like a well-wisher. Now, Krishna is speaking this in the 17th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So, Krishna's speech was not gentle at sometimes. He is very strong and heavy at times. You know why? What authorizes Krishna to speak in a heavy tone? Answer is simple. Priyahitam. Let's go to the third part. 3 points we discussed. Remember? Anudvegakaram vakyam. Speech which is not agitating. Satyam, which is truthful. Third is priyahitam, well-wishing intent. When we have a well-wishing intent, then we are authorized to speak even in an agitating tone. Not deliberately or purposely, but if it's required, we may have to speak in an agitating tone. The Acharyas, like Baladev Vidyabhushan, Vishnachakur Thakur, they give a wonderful commentary to this shloka, saying that yes, speaking in a non-agitating tone is true in all circumstances, general circumstances, but sometimes the situation may demand that you have to speak in a very strong manner. You have to emphasize. You have to stress some syllables. You have to speak little heavily. You have to agitate people. And who is authorized to agitate? One who has well-wishing intent is authorized to agitate. They can speak udvegakaram vakyam because priyahitam is default. A mother can be strict with her children. A father can be strict with his children. A teacher can sometimes show some strictness towards the students because by default, these parents and teachers are well-wishers of their dependents. A guru can sometimes be heavy with the disciple. Guru means heavy with the disciple. For disciples' betterment only. By default, because the spiritual master, Acharya, is a genuine well-wisher of all the conditioned soul and especially the disciples, they are authorized to sometimes speak in a heavy tone if it is required. That's what the situation demands. Right? So, this is important. When they say sensitive speech, it's not just a pampering speech, a speech that pacifies an agitated person or consoles an emotionally weak person, or it's not just speech that is very gentle, polite, sweet words, choicest words, which is like poetry. Sensitive speech is not just that. Along with sensitivity, we have to show some sensibility also. When you say sensitive speech, you are acknowledging the emotions of the other person. But when you say sensible speech, apart from acknowledging the emotions of the affected party, you should also bring them towards solution. If somebody comes to you and says that we should always try to analyze the consequences of our expressions before expressing them. Instead of being too eager, too excited, over-enthusiastic to express our emotions, we should also try to understand the consequences of our expressions before expressing them. if you analyze the consequences of your expressions, your words, and try to refine them and present in a more palatable, acceptable, digestible, relatable, and relevant manner, that is called sensitive speech. But if you don't analyze the consequences of our expressions and then speak whatever comes to the mind without processing it properly, especially without acknowledging others' emotions, that is called insensible speech, insensitive speech.